Hello, everyone. My name is Spencer Hankin, Senior GIS Manager here at IKE GPS. And today we're joined by Tyler Barnes, Project Manager for Toth Associates. Tyler, thanks for being here. We're going to have a conversation today about your use of the IKE device. So let's jump right on in and tell me a little bit about Toth Associates and your role there and what type of projects you specialize in.
Yeah, Spencer, thanks. Again, Tyler Barnes, Toth Associates Project Manager for Make Ready and Joint Use. And Toth Associates is a multidisciplinary engineering consultant firm headquartered out of Springfield, Missouri. We have 5 offices across the nation, a heavy focus in Pacific Northwest, as well as here in the Southwest, Midwest of the U.S. And we'll reach 200 employees this year. So we've been around for 20 years and mainly serve the electric cooperatives, but have been branching into municipalities, IOUs, and communication companies privately as well. Myself specifically, I help project manage on make ready joint use projects on the utilities. So mainly my direct client is the utility that has slowly progressed into dealing directly with the communication companies. So I'm reviewing third-party attachments onto utility systems, as well as helping utilities launch and attach their own fiber across their own utility system in more of a 30,000, 50,000 pole project instead of a third-party attachment project of 100 poles, 50 poles, 500 poles.
Well, it sounds like you have quite the work cut out for you there with all those big projects. And it certainly seems like you're a great person to be talking to, given that you're still involved with managing these projects. Can you tell us a little bit about the challenges that you and your team faced before coming to IKE? So what was your field data collection process like before you implemented using the IKE device?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And a main selling point for Toth in the industry is just boots on the ground. We really covet, experience on our clients' utility systems. We want them to know that we're there, we're present, and we are putting people on the lines looking at these attachments, and that is a great value for them. In the industry, there are a lot of third-party consultants that aren't getting boots on the ground, and that has always been a real selling point for us. As we started out in this, it was a lot of reviewing third-party attachments, and that in turn was reviewing other engineering firms' data. And it really just gave us a viewpoint of, we know our client systems and we're seeing data that just didn't match up. That's GIS data that's wrong. It's the make-ready solutions they were offering weren't accurate to the standards that our utilities, hold on a construction standard point. And then really there was a loss of the NESC guidelines and encode in the make-ready solutions, that they're seeing a 15.5 out there on a 60-degree day and think they're meeting clearance. And we're saying that that's going to be 12 foot, on a weather case. So we really needed, there was just a loss of information and a loss of accurate data. So we started before IKE, we started sending our own people out there to really verify this data. And, we were sending field guys out there. They had a hot stick on them. They had an iPad. They had a rangefinder. They had measuring tape, anything that they could aid themselves in accurately, measuring these attachments and the utility system, the poles and the mid spans. So we were sending crews out there with their hands full. And a lot of our terrain isn't just roadside attachment reviews. It's right-of-way cuts through really rough terrain, and they need their hands free. They need for public safety and for their safety and just for an efficient analysis process. So like I said, we were sending them out there with several tools, and it just wasn't efficient. It wasn't safe. And we were collecting all this data individually. Like I said, we had an iPad, we had measuring tape, they were writing stuff on paper, and they were coming back to the office with 5 to 10 different outputs. And we were trying to bring that in and look at it at a singular viewpoint. and it was just so tough. It was hard for our office people, it was hard for our field people, and we really needed a singular device that removed, 4 or 5 devices from our field staff hands and their workload. And then we needed really a dashboard to combine all this information into one. And so when we bridged over to IKE, that was roughly about 2 years ago. And we started out with a singular IKE device. We now have 5 and have roughly 4 to 8 people collecting every day throughout the nation. And it's been great for us to send our field team out there with one device. They, have hands-free. They have a device that can accurately measure a pole, take clear pictures, and allow them to input notes and have a map of the system on that tool. So it's been great in the field, and then in the office to have IKE Office, the dashboard, to have all the information that we collect in the field easily transferable for us, has been, great for our projects.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. It sounds like you started fielding and you had everyone out there with all these different types of field data collection methods. I heard you mention stick, clipboard, laser, and having one single device seems like a great solution for you. If you could just elaborate a little further, it sounds like you were in the room where that decision was made to go with the IKE device. Can you just tell us maybe some of the top reasons you decided to finally go with the IKE device itself?
Yeah. And I think too, what I missed on previous was just public safety. We're not putting our field people in the position of putting a hot stick in the neutral or in bottom transformer. And, that's a worst case scenario of something like that, being energized. But, if storm damage were to occur and down the line and they weren't aware of that, when you put someone out there with a hot stick, you're putting them in danger. So the IKE device taking that need away is really a crucial point for us too, of allowing our field personnel to take these measurements safely and at a safe distance from the pole and equipment. But yeah, in that room, making the decision, it was, like I said, it was getting rid of a lot of equipment, letting our field people be hands-free. Our customer service relationship is great. We have techs that constantly are reaching out, and if it's an issue or something they want to see on the IKE device, to have a company that can hear, listen, know why we're asking that, and be able to implement some of those has been really crucial for us as well.
That's all so fantastic to hear. It's interesting how you said, the economics and the safety come together. It's rare in business that the safe, fastest, and most economical option is available, and it's so right here for us. We got our IKE device.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your deliverables to your clients. So I know you were producing KMLs, Excel files for them with the IKE data. Can you tell me a little bit about how they received that data and if they were able to benefit from the improved quality and deliverable outputs that are available with the IKE device?
Yeah, and to answer that, I'll give a little bit before what we were doing before IKE. We from the beginning we've provided value and provided deliverables that helps our clients review these attachments, understand the make ready needed, etc. But before IKE, we were giving them really bare bone deliverables. We were giving them a KMZ without pictures. We weren't giving them pole pictures, no midspan pictures. We were just giving them our results. And when you're telling a communication company they have to pay $200,000 in make ready, and you're only giving them what you found and not how you found it, that puts a burden and kind of a lack of trust on that communication company or that client to trust why you gave it to them and why you came to that conclusion. So our deliverables now are KMZ, KML exports with pole pictures, with midspan pictures. All the pictures are annotated. They're very clear to understand, to see, to interpret. And we also, highlight our pole icons for make ready, our spans for clearance issues. So to have a KMZ that they can see a whole picture of the make ready and be able to go in and click and see pictures, see pole rot, see equipment failures, it just gives them so much. And it didn't add any work on our end. Like, this was work we were already doing, we just weren't giving it to them. And to be able to export out of IKE with zero effort is really just added value and no extra cost on our end and extra time on our end. So that's been super crucial.
Yeah, that's huge what you said there with the client being able to verify those photos. So they're not having to take your word for it like they would in the past just by looking at the make ready and just going with whatever you said, assuming it's correct. They actually have pictures and they're able to verify those heights of attachment. That's great to hear. That is so crucial to what we're doing every day because it's all about safety first and foremost. Safety of the public, safety of the fielders. That's really great to hear. So you did mention something that perked up my ears. You said something about GIS databases. Now I'm curious, are these the client's GIS databases? And it sounds like they're using the IKE data to find inconsistencies. Can you talk a little bit about those inconsistencies in the GIS database and how you're using IKE data to find those and improve the database?
Yeah. So the GIS inconsistency is really a two-part deal. Before we were using IKE and going out and collecting the data, our third-party consultants or engineering firms for the communication companies were supplying data, like I said, that was inaccurate. So before we were just trusting that and going with it, and it didn't prove a problem until construction came along and said, hey, we're replacing a 40-foot pole here. There's already a 40-foot pole. That data was just inaccurate. And so the IKE has allowed us to annotate each picture. We're not just going off of what it looks to be, or, even if a fielder's been doing it for 20 years, you can kind of get it wrong depending on embedment depth or terrain. And so it really is just a double check on that and allows us to give accurate GIS info. We can give them improved lat and longs. A lot of our utility clients' GIS systems, their pole locations are off by 20 feet, 10 feet. And for us to be able to hone in on that and give them updated pole locations, we can give them clear images of each pole that they can, update into their systems. A lot of our clients haven't updated their GIS systems in, 2 years, 5 years, and are even just beginning to do that. So for us to give them for free, for no added time on our end, really a backbone to start that, and a foundation to start that, has been crucial. They've loved to get pole pictures, and that even helps for a pre-construction standpoint and an audit standpoint. They get an image of their pole before this new communication company attaches their equipment. So that's good for them to be able to, after construction, take images themselves and correlate those to pre-construction and see, did they adhere to the standards that we gave them, and did they do it correctly? So that's a good standpoint for them to, so they can use that GIS info for this project specific. But then again, like I said, they're inputting that into their database, and that data will be crucial for them years down the road. And to be able to give that, like I said, with no added effort or time on our end has been a great added value.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear, especially the fact that it's no extra work on your end. It's just a byproduct of having all your data in IKE Office.
Yeah.
You're bringing it all together, doesn't make it any harder for you, and the data is there for them. You did mention, I think, pole rot. So when they're getting those photos, are they using it to identify things like pole rot, equipment damage, stuff like that on the poles?
Yeah, so our utility clients usually don't do that. It allows our teams to do that though. So before we were just looking at loading and clearance. We weren't looking at, oh, that pole's been there for 30 years or 40 years and has a split down the middle. Those, and we weren't even looking at cross arms and braces and all sorts of things. I give an audit of their equipment, of their system while we're doing this. So we can clearly see, hey, you have 4 woodpecker holes right by the primary cross arm, that is going to prove a failure, in the coming seasons, especially with, bad weather. We're in tornado season right now. They're just not aware of these damages and failures out in the field. So for our team to be able to highlight, pole rot, equipment failure, even like it helps from a third party attachment standpoint. It's basically a free audit. There's times where we've sent them pole pictures and they said, oh, we didn't know we had communications on this pole. We're not receiving application pole attachment applications for these attachments or the fees for these poles. So then they can go and audit their current attachers and prove, where they are on their system and start to garnish those funds to improve their system and give a payback for, renting that pole space out to them. So it's really just all encompassing audit of their system, of their equipment, and has been really crucial for them.
Yeah, all made possible by great poll pictures and great data in a centralized database. That is exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. Final question for you. We talked a lot about your data and how that's made better by using the IKE and IKE Office. Can you tell me a little bit about the fielding efficiency? So I know it's critically important to maintain those production standards. Can you tell me about how IKE has maybe improved your efficiency with your field teams?
Yeah, that's great. So efficiency is everything, especially, from a PM standpoint. That is constantly looking at budgets, looking at schedules. And like I said before, to send a fielder out with 5 items of equipment, and they would have to go collect the data and then bring it back to the office. And a lot of our projects are across the country. So our engineering team in office was waiting a week, sometimes 2 weeks to even start on that work and that they collected, by hand or on an iPad, etc. So on the IKE device, for the efficiency, our field teams are going out, they're collecting, they're going to their hotel that night, and with Wi-Fi, they're uploading that data, and our engineering team is starting on that the next day. So super efficient on just the transition of collection versus engineering, and has really improved the speed of our deliverables, and has really helped us stand apart from other consultants just on that speed of delivery, and it's been super efficient. And then another standpoint on that is training. To be able to, we honestly feel like we could pull someone off the street and train them on the IKE device and IKE Office within 2 to 3 hours. And training is needed, but it's also costly. So to be able to train someone in 2 hours and have them producing work after that is really crucial and important for us, and has been a game changer on our budgets, on our schedules, and has been great. Especially with college interns, we probably bring on 20 to 30, sometimes upwards of that, college interns a year. So for them to be able to not just go make copies or go do that stereotypical intern work, we're training them on IKE device, IKE Office, and they're going out in the field, they're collecting, they're setting tip and base of the poles, they're annotating images, they're helping with that make ready process. And that could only be done by having the seamless IKE dashboard and the IKE device user friendly. We have retirees that use it, we have interns that use it, and it's just a good range of people that can understand the software and use it correctly.
That's fantastic to hear. When you mentioned the Hasting stick, I think it took me about a month before I was comfortable using that in the field. So it's great to hear now how easy it is for anyone really to learn how to use our software.
Yeah,
that's just great to hear. Well, Tyler, thank you for joining us today. It's been really insightful to learn about how you, as a project manager, have benefited from IKE Device and IKE Office, as well as Toth and Associates as a whole has benefited. So thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate you as a customer. If you ever need anything from IKE, we are always here to help and assist on your projects. And yeah, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Spencer. Appreciate it.